vehicles are very different in their capabilities for causing a heart attack. You want a lot of the healthy HDL and very little of the lousy LDL. But, you know, when it comes to determining your risk for a heart attack, your individual values for total cholesterol, healthy HDL, and lousy LDL are not what's really important. What's important is the ratio between your total cholesterol and your healthy HDL. So when you get your blood drawn for cholesterol studies, do this. Take your total cholesterol and divide it by your healthy HDL. That number is the most critical one for determining your risk of heart attack. And your lab may have already done that. Look at all the labs. It may actually have this ratio calculated for you, but it may not. So the equation is total cholesterol over healthy HDL. And if that number is less than or equal to 4, you are at low risk for heart attack. If that number is greater than 4, you're at high risk for heart attack. And the higher it is, the higher your risk. So it's all about the total cholesterol divided by the HDL. And if it's lower than 4, low risk. If it's higher than 4, high risk. And this is true regardless of the units that are used to measure your lipids. The same ratio applies no matter where you live. Okay, now that just leaves us with the last type of fat, the triglycerides. Triglycerides are stored fats. In other words, when you eat, your body converts the calories it doesn't need into triglycerides. It stores them there, saves them for later. It stores those calories in your fat cells. Then, if you need energy between meals, you release the triglycerides. So the very best thing to do is to eat frequent, small meals so that you don't store fat as triglycerides in the first place. The higher your triglycerides, the greater your risk for a heart attack. And just like with cholesterol and HDL and LDL, there are parameters for triglyceride levels if you live in the United States. And in the U.S., the normal range for triglycerides is less than 150 milligrams per deciliter. Between 150 and 199, you have medium risk. Between 200 and 499, you have high risk. And greater than 500 is very, very high risk for a heart attack. And in Europe and Canada, the ranges are like this. Normal is less than 1.7 millimoles per liter. 1.7 to 2.2 is medium risk. 2.3 to 5.6 is high risk. And greater than 5.6 is very, very high risk. So do you see that while there are lipids, some are good, some are bad, some are ugly. And depending on which you have the most of, you may be in great shape or you may not be in great shape. Going just by your cholesterol is not adequate to tell you anything about your risk for a heart attack by itself. The key is to have more of the good fats and less of the bad ones. And then you won't have an ugly heart attack. Now, if all you do is listen to these podcasts, you should know that I make charts. I make lots of charts. And I always make charts on my YouTube videos summarizing information. And for this particular podcast, I did a video on this topic. And on my YouTube channel, same name, Lipids Good, Bad, and Ugly, I made a chart with the values for European and Canada labs as well as U.S. labs so that you can print it out and know exactly where you stand on these values. And you can find these charts by going to my website, which is menopausetailor.me. And the charts are always very useful and very helpful because it makes it so easy to have it in one place, all laid out in one place where you can refer to it. And the good thing is you can print out a chart and carry it with you everywhere. You can put one in your purse, you can put one in your kitchen, you can put one everywhere. And the key is just know these things or have access to them. And charts make it easy for you to manage your menopause because it's like a summary of the whole lesson. So if you like charts, if you find them helpful, go to my website. There's actually a tab called YouTube Video Tutorials. If you click on that, you'll see a drop-down menu that says charts. And you can go to all the charts and you can see all the charts that I've done for any of the videos. You can print them all out. You can have them all. I do charts for all kinds of things. And surprisingly, as a nerd, I always think everyone's going to hate my charts, but the women love them. I do quiz questions too, and I thought everyone would hate those too, but they love those too. So it turns out that even though I'm a nerd and I assume everyone else is going to hate what I love, go figure. A lot of women learning about menopause actually love these things that are great tools for learning. So be sure that you get your cholesterol studies done every single year with your annual exams from the moment you become a postmenopausal woman, regardless of your age. This is part of a normal annual checkup. You need to know the values. You need to monitor them. You need to know which ones are high and low. You need to know the ramifications of which ones are high and low. And you need to make modifications to get the direction of each of these going in the right direction to lower your risk for a heart attack. And that's pretty easy to do if you stay on top of it. In this education later on, I will be giving you management options for everything. I always give you the full education, the whole story, only the truth, and I give you the tools with which you can manage your menopause your way, and one of those ways is obviously to avoid a heart attack. That's what this is all about. The whole education is about avoiding a heart attack. Well, you can't know how to avoid a heart attack if you don't know anything about heart attacks or why they're there or what forms the heart attack in the first place. So I start at the beginning, and I teach you every little thing step by step, regardless of whether you're reading my book, watching my videos, watching a webinar, watching a DVD, listening to the podcast. I don't care how you get this education, but whatever you do, please get it in order so that you connect all the dots. Getting any kind of education is like learning to read. You have to learn the alphabet before you can read. And if you don't get the alphabet first, you will never be able to read. And that's why I always say, do them in order, do them in order, do them in order. And I know people like to just jump around and just look at this topic and that topic and do everything in a willy-nilly way. But that's no way to learn anything, because what happens then is you bring all your misconceptions into the picture and try to make sense of them, and it'll never work. So I invite you to go to menopausetailor.me. You will see all the resources for this education. You can get the education any way you want, but whatever you do it in order. So I will bid you goodbye for now, and I will see you or talk to you in the next podcast, and that will be on the role of sugar in causing heart attacks. Yeah, you heard me correctly. So I will say goodbye for now. Thanks for being here. Take care of all your lipids. Bye.